A menstruating woman could kill a bee with one touch. That is what Rome's greatest mind wrote down. Pliny the Elder, commander, author, naturalist, and he was only warming up. Her touch could sour an entire jug of fresh wine, blunt the edge of a hardened legionary's sword, rust a bar of bright iron overnight, dim a polished bronze mirror to dull gray, drive a calm household dog stark mad, wither an entire standing field of ripe crops, kill the whole hive, not just one bee. This was not some tavern rumor or old wives' tale. It was the official science of the Roman state, and for 2,000 years, nobody checked it. They left it untested. The answer scared them. Now jump ahead to the year 1896. The first disposable pad reaches American shops. It fails completely. The product itself worked perfectly well. Women were too ashamed to buy it, too ashamed to face a male pharmacist. That shame had been building for thousands of years. You are 90 seconds into this video, and the real facts have not even started yet. One word ties all of it together. Taboo. You have used it your entire life. It once meant sacred, forbidden, set apart. The very same label fell on menstruating women. Not with murder, not with theft, not with war. Just a body doing what it was built for. Be honest, did any of that sound made up to you? None of it is. So we go through the facts, one at a time. Even the plain name hides an old clue. Menstruation, Latin for month, Greek for moon. People tied the cycle to the sky. The body kept a calendar of its own. Start with the human body itself. A modern woman menstruates about 400 times. 400. A hunter-gatherer woman menstruated around 100. 100. The gap is fourfold. The reason is near constant pregnancy across those years, and years of breastfeeding after each birth. Both switched the cycle off for long stretches. Anthropologist Beverly Strassmann measured this directly. She lived with the Dogon people in Mali. She lived among them for 2.5 years. Dogon women use no birth control. They average around 8 or 9 pregnancies each, so they menstruate about 100 times. That 100 is the baseline. 400 is recent. There is a hidden cost to the extra cycles. More cycles mean more lifetime hormone exposure. Strassmann tied that to higher breast cancer risk. The ancestral pattern was rarer and safer. Each cycle cost iron, protein, and energy on a body already short on daily food. Losing it monthly was a real burden. Step back for the strangest fact of all. Most mammals on Earth never menstruate at all. They build the lining only when needed. An embryo sends the signal, then it thickens. Only a few species do it every cycle. Higher primates, some bats, the elephant shrew, and us. Our bodies build the lining each cycle, embryo or not. When none arrives, the body clears it. That monthly clear out is your period. The cramps come as the uterus squeezes off the lining. Chemicals called prostaglandins drive the pain. More of them, the sharper the ache. Muscle and chemistry. Many women run low on iron, a real monthly cost. For most of history, this event was rare. A woman spent her fertile years pregnant, or nursing a small child for several years. The monthly rhythm you treat as normal. It is a surprisingly recent thing. The 28-day pill pack is a design choice, not biology. The first period also arrived later back then, in the 1800s, around 15 or 16. Today, the first period lands closer to 12. Richer, steadier food pulled that age down. Bodies started earlier and cycled far more. You open an app that predicts it monthly. For her, there was almost nothing to predict. Now turn and look at the written record. We have roughly 200,000 years of humans, and almost nothing written down about this. The earliest surviving medical note we have is Egyptian. The Ebers Papyrus of Egypt, around 1550 BC. After that, a very long silence. There is one rare exception, an Egyptian workers' village, Deir el-Medina. Scribes recorded why workers missed a shift. Some tablets even list the reason for the day off plainly. The scribe wrote it without any shame, a tiny window into a huge silence. The daily reality left few traces. We piece it from scraps. Across cultures, they reached for soft plants, moss, grass and rolled wool, softened papyrus in ancient Egypt, strips of cloth washed and used again, leather in the colder regions, whatever soft thing the land around them offered. None of it reached the history books. Everywhere else, men wrote the histories. Men decided what deserved ink, and they left this out. One rare woman's voice broke the long silence. Trota of Salerno, a woman writing medicine for women. Her work was later credited to men. Even the exception got written over. We know every Roman road's width, down to the inch. We do not know how half of humanity coped each month for 200,000 years. That was no accident. It was a choice about what counted. You can search Roman plumbing in one tap. Now search how they handled this. Here's what we can dig up. Seclusion appears on every inhabited continent. Same pattern in places that never met. In Nepal, it is called chowpatty. A woman sleeps apart during her period. Practice still causes real deaths even today. The cold and isolation have killed girls there. Nepal banned it. It survives anyway. This is not distant history. It is happening now. Religion later carved the rule into plain, written law. The book of Leviticus set a term: 7 full days of being labeled ritually unclean. Anything she touched counted as unclean too. Judaism kept a careful version of this. Islam set its own rule in the Quran. It named the days a harm to keep apart from. Similar codes appear far beyond it. Hindu, Norse, and Roman texts share one verdict on women. The same idea, pressed into holy law. Archaeology pushes thousands of years further back still. Eastern Kentucky, Newt Cache Shelter. That rock shelter is about 4,000 years old. Diggers found soft plant fibers for padding, bedding, shell spoons, medicinal herbs. Cheryl Classen read it as a women's retreat, a place for menstruation, birth, and healing. Seclusion was not always meant as pure punishment. Sometimes it meant rest and quiet company, away from the heavy labor among other women. The same walls held both meanings at once. Not every scholar agrees with that reading. The argument itself proves a point. Even the evidence had to be argued into view. Strassmann found a hidden logic to the huts. The huts let the village track who might be pregnant. The taboo carried a cold reproductive purpose. Recall slipping a product up your sleeve at the till. That reflex was built over thousands of years. The Greeks built their own strange theory of it. They thought the womb could roam the whole body, could press the lungs, or seize the throat. Plato pictured the womb as a creature, an animal aching to bear a child. Hippocrates and Galen took this seriously. Their fix was scent therapy to lure it back down. Marriage and sex were also prescribed as the cure. The Egyptians had hinted at it first, but the Greeks gave the theory a name: hystera, their word for womb. From that single root comes one English word: hysterical. Only women could be diagnosed with it. It explained any woman men found difficult. The diagnosis officially survived until the year 1980. Fair question. Why did no one test this for millennia? Testing it meant doubting the men who wrote it. You still type that word in arguments. Hysterical. Each time you repeat a wandering womb theory. The word outlived its science by 19 centuries. Count the names you use to dodge the word. The curse, that time of the month, Aunt Flo. One survey alone logged nearly 900 of them. A whole secret language, passed quietly between women. You reach for one without even thinking. Go back to Pliny for a moment. His list did not stop at destruction. The same woman could also protect a field, walk the crops, and the pests would flee. So she was poison and cure at once, destroyer and charm in the same paragraph. The contradiction bothered nobody. Fear rarely bothers to ask for consistency. The most powerful state on earth believed it for 4 straight centuries. Pliny himself died walking toward a volcano. The naturalist who feared a woman's touch. His book is still printed today, not as a warning, cited seriously as a primary historical source. Students read him in Latin class today. His fear sits quietly in the footnotes. You can borrow that same text from a library. The fear is cataloged and shelved. And even modern science is not immune to this. In 1971, a famous study claimed synchrony, women living together, their cycles supposedly lining up. It spread into textbooks and dorm rooms. Later and larger studies could not repeat it. A large app study showed cycles drifting apart. The myth felt tidier than the math. We still prefer the neat story. Serious research is recent. Strassmann's key work is from the 90s. The key archaeology paper only came in 2011. We are still drawing the map. Return to the shop counter from the start. Lister's towels failed on pure shame. Between 1854 and 1915 came some 20 new patents. Belts, rubber bloomers, even early cups. None of them broke the wall of embarrassment. Then the First World War changed the material. Nurses found it soaked up blood much better than cloth. Surplus war bandages became the first Kotex pad, a women's product funded, oddly, by soldiers' wounds. 1921, the first real success. Johnson & Johnson quietly renamed theirs Nupak, a name that told you nothing at all. They never printed what it was for. They leaned on one careful word: hygiene. And they fixed the counter problem too. She left coins in a box, took it, said nothing. Shame built right into the checkout. Later came the applicator tampon, back in 1936. Each product wrapped in one more layer of quiet. Now name the culprit. It was not cruelty or some plan to oppress. It was fear of something unexplained. Men simply could not explain the cycle at all. So they wrapped it in control and shame. Fear built the taboo. The taboo built the shame. The shame outlived the science that made it. You started using that word as a child. Taboo. Now you know whose silence you inherited. The shame did not stay in the past. For decades, every ad used blue liquid. Never red, until one ad broke that in 2017. That is how recent the shift is. Millions still cannot afford supplies at all. Scotland made period products free for all in 2020. The first country on earth to do it. Today, cost still shapes who takes part. Girls miss school for lack of a few pads. A tax and a silence, still quietly at work. Many places still tax these as luxuries. A luxury nobody can choose to skip. Only lately are countries dropping the tax. Real progress and old silence, side by side. Watch how you pass a tampon, cupped like contraband. You still drop your voice to say the word. 200,000 years, still in that whisper. None of this is truly behind us. The silence has only changed its clothes. It moved from temples and holy law to ad breaks. One question stays open. Why is this still hard to talk about in 2026? Not back then, now. Drop your answer below. I read every single one.